Why does judo have fewer champions in UFC? Example, Ronda Rousey, but fighters with a BJJ and wrestling background become champion more often. That's from John J.C. Rowe. Well, I'll tell you, I have a theory on that. The greatest judoka, in my opinion, to ever be successful in MMA, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, I might be forgetting somebody, but for me, it was Fedor. Fedor had a judo background, not a wrestling background, and he was phenomenal in MMA, and he didn't try no double legs. Like, for instance, I train a bunch of judo guys, and sometimes when it comes to it, they score a double leg. They don't use any judo. It's like they got really strong doing judo all their life, but at the end, I had to show them double leg, and they had to use double leg. When the push came to shove, the double leg scored. Not Fedor. Fedor didn't use a double leg. He used upper body clinches. He used throws. He used trips. He was a brilliant takedown artist, but he had a very, very different approach. Judo guys grab and try to tie you up and then throw you. Fedor doesn't. Fedor would kind of run at you with his punching ability. He had a weird punching style where he would kind of loop his punches. He would create a collision. And from that collision, he would use the momentum of the collision to take you down. He would do his beautiful judo attacks, but he created a collision. So he would run his whole body. He would go body to body. He would body check you. And when he would body check you, you would grab onto him or try to push him away or try to pull him. Whatever you did, he would use that momentum to bring you down to the ground. I thought that philosophy was far superior to 99% of what all the other judokas did. All the other judokas tried to grab and pull and grab and clinch and throw. Now, my second favorite judo practitioner, like a guy who's using pure judo, was Cairo Parisian. Extremely impressive judo. In terms of using actual judo, okay? Because you have a lot of judo guys that are using wrestling. Like, they don't really do too many trips. You might see one here and there, yes, but like I remember when Matt Hughes was fighting Cairo Parisian, they were scheduled to fight. Cairo Parisian, I believe, got injured, so the fight never materialized, but they were booked to fight, and it was a title fight. And I remember Matt Hughes saying, oh, judo doesn't work, it won't work on me. Like, he was totally dismissing judo, and I was super interested to see how it would clash. But then later on, I noticed that Matt Hughes was kind of right. Like, the judo guys are not as successful. Now, Ronda Rousey's a for sure outlier, okay? But here's the thing about judo. Women's judo is a very serious business, okay? There's a lot of women in women's judo. There's very little women in freestyle wrestling. If you compare the numbers, there's way more. Girls are just more attracted to doing judo by and large, okay? The numbers doing judo in the female world is far greater than wrestling. So, and they have a lot of competitions in the States and all over the world, and these girls get at a higher level at a young age, and they're trained to become judokas, whereas in wrestling, the pool is really, really small. And like, I've been in a practice room with wrestling, there's always, like, maybe there's one girl, two max, but if you go to a judo club, there's going to be it's a martial art, right? It's like going to a karate club or a jiu-jitsu club. You can see tons of girls. Wrestling is seen more as a sport, judo more as a martial art, I guess, or it's the gi might have an appeal. I don't know what it is, but girls just do more judo. So what happens is you're going to have a much more competitive pool, so the girls are going to get better. And then you have a Ronda Rousey. She's fighting girls who are purple belt. She's been trained her whole life. Like, she has 10 years on every girl she fought until the end of her career. You know, like, who was her greatest rival? Maybe Miesha Tate. Well, Miesha Tate, I don't think grew up wrestling and doing jiu-jitsu. I think she probably learned that in her adulthood. Whereas Ronda Rousey's mom was a world champion. So Ronda was in judo. I think she got the silver. I can't remember at the Worlds or whatnot. But she was very high up in judo. Guys, to get high up in judo, if you want to win anything, you know, at the world-class level, you got to start extremely young. Not so in MMA. In MMA, if you're female and you win 4 or 5 fights, you might be in the top 10 already. Like, there's just not that much interest in MMA from the girls. That's why you'll see a girl in the top 10. She's maybe an 8-8 record. She's in the top 10. You'll never see a guy 8-8 record in the top 10 in UFC. Never. I don't think you'll ever see that. The guy would have to have like 8 losses and then go on a tear, 8 fight. Even then, they wouldn't give it. Like, he'd have to get. It's too competitive. There are too many other choices. There are too many other great athletes to choose from. The pool is massive, so it's far more ferocious to get to the top of that hill. So you're gonna get the best of the best. You're going to get this girl who's very special, who trained from a very young age, who put in tons of effort. Then she's going to fight a girl who, I think maybe she was a purple belt or a brown belt when she fought Ronda. Like, I'm not even sure what belt she was. but so much more competitive experience for Ronda Rousey. Ronda must have been competing since she's like 10, 8 years old. So that's why she has so many more years. It's just insane. It's an insane advantage.